Clank was David Kay, who played Cringer in He-Man, the Netflix version. Do you know who Cringer is? Just to test your retro cartoons. Who's Cringer?
Cringer is the cartoon character voiced by the same person who voiced Clank.
Nice. That's a genius way of dodging that question.
Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of everyone's favorite podcast, the Critical Arcade Podcast. I'm your co-host, Nick.
And I'm Dave.
Hello, Dave.
Hello, Nick. You well?
I'm good. I'm well. I'm a slight tad confused.
Well, that's what your 30s gets you. But yeah, go on. How so?
Do I just get progressively
more
confused?
Progressively more in pain, progressively just thinking teenagers are aliens. That's just generally how it works now.
Jeez, they are aliens.
See?
Oh man,
Told you, right?
It's already happened.
Yep.
Damn.
Well, welcome. Why are you confused?
It's just gonna grow and grow 0.01% each day until one day it's dementia.
Oh, wow, that got dark. That got dark really quickly. Like just one until I don't want to live anymore. No, right. It's until you just moan at everything and about everyone. That's where where it peaks when you're really old. Where everything
is
wrong.
There.
Right?
Damn
it's almost exciting. It's where you don't have to have a filter anymore. You don't have to be kind. You don't have to be, hold anything back. You can just say things. Like when
isn't that that's one thing I envy of old people. Just no filter at all.
It's that full circle where kids point out, oh, look at that woman with the big nose. Now you get to do it again when you're like 80 and say, look at that woman with the big nose. It's great.
But you're
full circle.
But you're talking directly at them.
Yes. You're literally talking to Susan and say, why have you, it's been bugging me for years now. Why is your nose
so big? Get it out of my plate of food.
Yeah, and everybody's like, oh, he's old. He's allowed to do that now because, he's lived enough years. Yeah, I can't wait. That sounds like great fun.
It really does. We went to my grandma a couple of months ago, and we haven't seen her for a very long time. And one of the first things she told me was, "Seems like we're putting on a bit of weight."
It's a classic, yeah, exactly. I do love how casually you just threw away that you haven't seen her for a long time, like she's missing. It's like, wait a minute, we haven't seen Grandma for a long time. No one's worried about that.
No,
like, yeah.
Oh, all right.
Is she still around?
I think so.
But yes, I love it. They always tell you you're fat or you're too thin. Like another great time for when you get old. I can't wait.
Yeah.
But anyway, why are you confused? You said you were confused.
Oh, right. Yes. About this week's game.
Okay, how so?
Right, ladies and gents, let's just get started. This week's game is something I am a bit confused about. Like I said earlier, Dave, how about you tell us what did we review, then we can get into it.
Well, this week's game is a classic for a lot of people, at least the series is. It's Ratchet and Clank. I want to call it Tools of Destruction, but it's actually Future Tools of Destruction.
That's the thing. I think the future is part of the Ratchet and Clank and not the Tools of Destruction.
Oh, is it?
Yes, I think the semicolon is after Future and not before.
To me, I never even read that part until I did some research and thought, what do you mean this is called Future? And I was like, oh yeah. For me, it's always just been Ratchet and Clank Tools of Destruction, but I do get it, yes. It's the 2007 PlayStation 3 game by a little company. I don't know if anyone's actually heard of it. Called Insomniac. Insomniac Games. Have you heard of that company?
Ringing a bell. Can't say I do know them.
No, exactly. They made a game called Spider-Man, which I think no one knows.
No.
Spyro the Dragon series, Resistance. They did that Sunset Overdrive game for the Xbox exclusive.
What was that second game?
Resistance.
No, before that.
Spyro the Dragon. Everyone heard of that?
It sounded like you said Spyro.
Spyro the Dragon, yeah, the Chinatown version of it you can get on
the bootleg Spyro.
Yeah, exactly. And
Spyro the Wyvern, yes.
And Sunset Overdrive, a game I've always wanted to play but never owned the Xbox that it was on. Yeah. You saw that as an exclusive, wasn't it? That always actually looked kind of good. And of course, the Ratchet and Clank series, which has been spanning many consoles and many games for quite a while now.
This series started on the PlayStation 2, like many classics. This is one of the few that survived. One of the very few that survived.
Yeah,
out of all the platformers of the great PS2 era, this could be, I think, one of two.
What's the other one?
Still around.
Just Spyro or
I don't
Crash
know,
Bandicoot?
Kind of Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, kind of. Still too hard. But it's interesting when you look up Insomniac games. They've actually had quite a turbulent timeline. They first started a game called Disruptor for the PlayStation 1 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was so bad it almost led to their bankruptcy.
For Insomniac.
No one liked it. Yeah, for Insomniac. And then the next game after Disruptor, they thought of Spyro the Dragon, which then, of course, did quite well. But not only that, they then, after the Ratchet and Clank and the Resistance was a huge success, they then released a new game after that called Fuse, like a multiplayer type game, which flopped hard, like insanely cost them money.
Is that the one with the yellow cracked helmet?
No, I think that's Haze, because I think the same thing when I thought that. I thought the one with the yellow cracked helmet too.
My bad.
So yeah, they've actually had ups and downs as a studio goes. You know, they've made money and then lost a ton of money, and then of course they got the Spider-Man games now, which of course just makes tons and tons and tons of money.
It just prints money.
Yeah, just mountains of money. They also had a game which they cancelled, which is the code name Girl with a Stick, which I just thought was they worked hard on that code name, which they never released because during the development they found out the game wasn't fun.
Which
must be
when
such
a game
a sad
isn't
thing,
fun.
Right? They developed it, they made a character, made a bit of story, then started playing it, and I said, "This isn't fun.
This isn't
what are we doing?
Shit, it?
Yeah, it must be weird to do all that work and think you know what? What are we doing with ourselves? This is just so boring."
I don't know. There are tons of games released that aren't fun.
Well, now I agree.
Yes, now. Wait a minute. When did this Girl with the Stick get shit canned?
Oh, it was quite early, I believe, in the so it was probably PlayStation 2 era. I'm not entirely sure. And of course, Ratchet and Clank Future Tools of Destruction won the Spike TV Awards for 2007. It did? It was the PlayStation 3 best PlayStation 3 game. Not just the best game of the year, but the best PlayStation 3 game of its time. No? Why? Didn't you not like it?
No, it didn't.
Did you not like Ratchet and Clank? We've
got an entire hour to dive into this.
Okay, got you.
Ratchet and Clank Future. I have some thoughts.
There better not be bad thoughts because this is Ratchet and Clank. That's
the thing. That's what I'm talking about. I do love Ratchet and Clank. I've not played as many of them of these games as I'd like to have.
You've platinumed the newest one though, right?
That's it. Right? That's it. I've gotten the platinum trophy for Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
That's it.
Incredible game. Great game.
Yeah.
I really do like it. Playing as all the different characters, an additional Lady Lombax. It's fantastic.
Yes, but this one isn't.
Well, wait. Before there was the 2016 remake of the first one, Ratchet and Clank.
Yes, that's true. They're very true, yes.
That, I think, is not a good game.
So it's just... See, it's one of those things. Is it because you're a young person and you've gotten so used to the luxury that is games now? Granted, the first one isn't great, I must admit. But there is, I'm gonna hit you with it again. We always mention it. The nostalgia of these games and the age that I am, and the games that we didn't have as many games out then, so this game always shines.
Very true.
My nostalgia goggles are very much on.
It's what people had.
Yes, yeah, exactly, and there's something just comforting about that. So it's hard to hear someone in this podcast not say it's amazing. Granted, I didn't say it was amazing either, but it sounds like I gave it better scores than you. Okay, then should we jump into the narrative then? Because obviously,
let's do it.
You've got some things to say. What did you think about the narrative of the game then?
I think it's very cookie cutter.
Cookie cutter? Seriously?
Yeah. It's a Ratchet and Clank. Have you played Rift Apart?
No, I haven't. I know that's
okay.
mean, and I should have done.
So,
I should have. Go on.
Let's please. listen if this sounds familiar, right? You start as Ratchet and Clank in, what's the city planet?
Metropolis, isn't it?
Is it Metropolis?
Which reminded me of something else. Isn't that in Superman or something?
Yes, Metropolis is Superman's Gotham, right, or whatever.
That's what I thought, and I remember writing this down, and I'm thinking that can't be right, because wouldn't that be like copyright traded, or is Metropolis?
I think so. I don't know. No, probably not. They can't own. A movie called Metropolis just got released.
Oh, that's true. That's very true. And there was
I'm
one.
Pretty sure it's not copyright.
1927. Is that the movie you're talking about? Sorry, no. Yeah, okay, so yeah, it's called Metropolis, which I guess is by all accounts in the English standard just means a big city of buildings, right?
Big city. Ratchet and Clank, they're in the big city.
Yeah, exactly.
Going about their business when all of a sudden, oh no, it gets attacked. And in this attack, you sort of wade your way through the mercenaries, through all the wacky ongoings. You have some rail grinding to eventually get to the main big bad.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, got you.
Keep in mind, I'm not talking about Tools of Destruction. I'm talking about Rift Apart.
Oh, okay. Okay, yes, I got you. And that's literally it, is it, in that one, in Rift Apart?
When the entire game is just getting the MacGuffins to,
yes.
to eventually take down the big bad,
which is
in
the
Rift
format.
Apart
was
what was his name? Emperor something. He was a big skeleton-looking android man.
Okay, like I said, I haven't played, but yeah, I get what you're saying now. It's the whole PlayStation 2, 3 vibe where it's collect all the things, go to different planets, and then just take down the bad guy once you've collected all the things, right?
Yes.
Yeah, no, granted, yeah, it is the same formula. I'm with you, and
it's a formula that works.
It does, but I get that narratively, it's not really hitting new heights, is it?
No, it isn't. They can. I mean. They did it with Rift Apart, which is the same formula. I'll give him that, but I mean, it didn't hit with me for Tools of Destruction. It feels like the previous and Ratchet and Clank games after this were just better. Not that this is bad; it's just not as good as the other Ratchet and Clank games.
It's funny because a lot of people rate this the best Ratchet and Clank game of the Ratchet and Clank. If you look at somebody, I don't know if it's IGN or GameSpot, depending on if just one of the reviews I read. He said it's probably the greatest PlayStation 3 game of its history.
Wow,
I know. Granted, that
it
just proves reviews are entirely subjective, depending on your background. Yeah, I'm about to say.
If you're listening to this podcast and you like or dislike this game, but you agree or disagree with what we're saying, that's fine.
No, it's fantastic. It's the best thing about these types of things.
Yes, if we can have more conversation, more mature arguments, please.
Well, by all accounts, I had a different view of the narrative. I liked that you're being invaded by Emperor Tachyon, thank you. He was a Cragmite. There's something very Cartoon Network about the whole thing, if you know what I mean. Like
what? Ratchet and Clank? No.
Yeah. Cragmites, Lombaxes, even the weird Dimensionator.
Yeah.
That's how he got later on, of course, Ratchet finds out that his species, the Lombaxes, are kind of like galaxy heroes who got rid of the Cragmites using the Dimensionator, and he's just from a long line of like superhero races. Kind of very reminded me a bit of Doctor Who, because he's a Time Lord and he saved the planet. This Lombaxes seem to be the kind of Time Lords of this galaxy. I know it's a weird comparison. But yeah, I get narratively, you're right. It's go this, collect that. It's go to this planet, defeat this goofy bad guy here, and then eventually take on Tachyon. Who's funny. Very Cartoon Network funny, though. It's very much Jimmy Neutron or, I was going to say Reboot, but that's probably well before your time. Did you ever watch Reboot?
I did not.
Yeah, sorry. I'm showing my age again then. But again, it was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to be had.
It makes sense that that's the narrative and the vibe, the humor, the atmosphere. Because this was made in 2007, 5 or 6 years after the first Ratchet and Clank game.
That's right.
This was hot off the heels of the PS2, in the first year of the PS3, when a lot of people, the majority of people, and even game makers at the time still thought games were for kids.
That's very true. That's true. That was probably the era where there was God of War was probably the most edgy game we had. Because don't get me wrong, that was quite an edgy and adult game.
Yes.
But that was pretty much it.
This was in the transition era, the early HD era. It's kind of, I think, kicked off this wide stereotype that video games aren't majority for children.
Agreed. Yeah,
there obviously is, and Nintendo fills that niche very well.
Very true. Yeah, agreed.
But a lot of games just aren't for kids, and I think Ratchet and Clank Future kind of wanted to be for kids, but I don't know where I'm trying to go with this. Somehow, I don't think it...
Trying to bridge the gap, right, between kids and adults.
Trying to, but not being as successful as other Ratchet and Clank entries. Like Rift Apart is incredible. It's amazing at being for kids and adults.
Yeah, because that's got like a dimensional travel, right? Is that what the rifts are? I just presume. I've never actually played.
Entirely. You're right. So Rift Apart is kind of the successor to Tools of Destruction. You get the Dimensionator again. They talk about all the Lombaxes that went to different dimensions. You kind of learn from them, and you jump through different dimensions called rifts.
Yeah, of course.
So Tools of Destruction might be the precursor to the latest Ratchet and Clank game, and I'm only putting that together now.
And is that a good thing? That's a good thing,
It is
right?
a good thing, because Rift Apart's incredible.
Yes, and is the Rift Apart a part of the Future series, out of curiosity? Is it?
See, this is where it gets dumb.
Okay.
Why is it called Ratchet and Clank Future?
I know, I don't like that either. I don't know. I get the premise that this is supposed to be, because of the gap between the games, they're trying to denote like a time frame.
There's a gap?
Well, like you said, the first Ratchet and Clank game and the second Ratchet and Clank game. I can't remember which Ratchet and Clank game this is. The third or fourth, isn't it?
No, I think this is what, fifth? Before this,
fifth?
we got Deadlocked.
Oh, that was the gladiatorial one, right? Where it's just like an arena
know.
game. Yeah, I think so. That's just a kind of a arena-esque, just shoot all the bad guys type version, I believe.
Okay.
Which actually wasn't that bad. So I've read. Yeah, it is what it is. You don't want to it's one of those things where I say you don't want to spoil the story, but the story is kind of from the first 20 minutes. You know what the story's gonna kind of be.
You know exactly what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
you know
kind of
Ratchet
really
and Clank is gonna fight minions, get the MacGuffin, beat the bad guy, and save the day.
But
that
it's comical.
Ratchet. That is still Ratchet and Clank.
But they do it in a funny way. That's what I like. I like the big goofy superhero and
it's the journey, and it's your sidekick. It's the banter, the hijinks. It's the quips.
Yeah, and that does just still reminds me of Saturday morning cartoons. I don't know what I don't watch cartoons now, so I don't know what the equivalent would be today. Maybe SpongeBob SquarePants. I don't know if that's still relevant. Do people still watch? I know there was Gumball and somebody. I was just about to say Gumball and Cyanide, and that's two different things.
That is something very
combined together.
I don't know what could be the cartoon equivalent of Ratchet and Clank today.
Yeah, sadly, you haven't got the kids old enough for that type of thing yet, have you?
No.
Which is going to be the sweet part of having kids, when you get to watch Cartoon Network again and Nickelodeon and the good things.
Or I'm going to wake them up and tell you, come on.
Have like cereals on the table, TV's ready. Yeah, exactly. And now you don't have to feel like a grown man just watching cartoons. I'm doing it for the kids. I'm not enjoying this. But anyway, sorry, I digress. Like I said, the narrative is what it is. It's kind of a lot of fun. It's very... Like you said,
that's it. You're not here to be absolutely mesmerized.
Yes, it's not
and hypnotized
anything.
by the story, maybe something like The Last of Us.
Yeah, agreed. You're not going to hit those levels of emotional connection.
You're here to have some fun. You switch off your brain, have some popcorn,
which is perfectly fine. Some games are that's exactly what. If that's what you're feeling for that moment when you're going to pick up a game, that's what you want. What do you think visually then? This you
Visually,
must
I
have
think
enjoyed.
that this was a big upgrade. I think this game did to Ratchet and Clank what Super Mario Sunshine did for the Mario series.
An interesting comparison. Like I thought you were going to say 64, but you hit straight into the Sunshine just because it's the HD era, so to speak.
Kind of, mainly because that Ratchet and Clank Future Tools of Destruction is the first game, I might be wrong, where they used a new Ratchet and Clank model for the first time.
You could be right, but on the
Ever
internet,
since
being
the
wrong,
game previous to this one, they've been using the same model.
Yes, that makes sense.
Since the first game.
Yeah. Yes, I think that makes sense, yeah, because of the whole jump to HD, they probably would.
And this might be the first one where they got a new one. And I think that it also updated the visuals across the level.
Yeah, agreed. I like the visuals, even the cinematic jumps from the gameplay to the little cinematic scenes where you're the banter between it is actually quite cleanly done, especially if you compare it between PlayStation 2 and the PlayStation 3, which is, again, kids call that retro gaming now, which just hurts me to my heart.
No, PS3 isn't retro.
It's retro. Oh, no. Xbox 360 is retro. Oh,
it's not. It can't be. I'm not.
No, that's what your 30s. See, I told you. You start complaining about teenagers being aliens and things being like that. Calling that retro gaming hurts my soul. But either way,
it's time for a Google. What is considered?
Oh, don't do it.
Retro.
Don't do it. It'll hurt you.
A style that is called. No.
What does it say? I'm kind of intrigued now.
Is 20 years considered retro? What? Vintage items are at least 20.
Yes. See, the world's just going mad. It's 20 years ago is supposedly
20. So the GameCube is vintage?
Yes. Yeah, that's right. That makes sense. The PlayStation 2 is vintage. It's maddening, isn't it? It's absolutely maddening to think that. Yeah, I know.
No, I refuse to accept this. I am in denial.
Yeah, I'm going to be Peter Pan. I'm literally never going to age. They're all brand new to me. But I thought visually there's a lot of fun. The first bit of the game where the whole the city is falling apart and you're falling down and the buildings are collapsing behind you and stuff like that. I can't remember games doing that level of fun. Now it's fairly common, like you say, the big cinematic pieces. This, when you start the game off and you're still learning the controls and what button does what, that's just visually a lot of fun to me. And it's a great way to do a tutorial, which isn't boring. Because most tutorials just are so mind-numbing, like, here, you can jump. Here, you can climb under the log by crouch.
They give you this safe space where you can do the things.
Yeah, and it's
test the buttons,
and we've done it all 1,000 times as gamers. Like, yes, we know. Yeah. Look, there's a log. Of course, I have to crouch underneath it. Oh, look, there's a gun and a target at the end. I wonder if I have to shoot it. But anyway, this was a fun tutorial. This was actually engaging. It was falling apart. The world's falling down. You're like I said, your rail sliding things. You're shooting. Again, visually, I loved it. Also reminded me of Earthworm Jim because a lot of the bad guys were fish. When you shot the main bad guys were like fish in robot suits. Remember him? Right? And so I couldn't help but feel and especially when you shoot the bad guys and the fish is just flopping around on the floor afterwards.
Yes.
I don't know why, but that tickles me. That little animation that they just that somebody enthralled a bunch of fish, put them in robots, and then every time you killed them, they just flop. It's so fun visually to shoot these things, and even the like you said, the wacky animations when they die and the wacky when they get hit, and everything is wacky, which is very, I don't know, it's like I said, if you're playing The Last of Us and Gears of War and all these other deep dramatic games, it's a lot of fun to go back to some silliness every once in a while. It is.
Even as an adult. I've no issue with going back to some of these sillier games, just having a good time, and that's it. There's nothing wrong with it. That's so good. That's good. Although this game did come out in the early HD era on the PS3, and
it did.
I can't remember. I think which came first, this or the first Resistance game?
I think the first Resistance game came out.
Okay. Have you seen the first Resistance game?
I've played. I've completed the first Resistance game and the second Resistance game. That was because it's like again those games were co-op, and I had my brother, so any co-op game was always a must-have on those types of things.
That first Resistance game, Resistance Fall of Man, it does not look good.
No, it doesn't. I can picture it in my head now, and it's always reminded me a bit. Did you ever play the Duke Nukem games, like the newer ones, not the new ones? 3D Duke Nukem 3D.
No, I didn't.
Okay, yeah, I've probably shown my age again. The bad guys in that are very much like animated like the bad guys in Duke Nukem 3D. And it's, again, to their credit, the bad guys in Resistance are also kind of goofy. I know the story is kind of really kind of severe and the end of mankind and stuff. But it's, again, I'm going to throw another game at you. Do you ever play MDK?
That sounds familiar.
It was
Murder, don't kill.
You were so close. Murder, death, kill. You were so very close.
Damn. Okay.
And that also had a wackiness to all the bad guys. I remember, strangely, from that game, when you looked through a scope on your sniper rifle, the bad guys would wave at you first and go, hello, and then they'd try and kill you. Yes. And again, Resistance had it wacky, and they kind of got a wacky thing going for them until, of course, like Spider-Man. Spider-Man's wacky.
Resistance wasn't wacky. It took itself way seriously.
It granted the story and the whole thing, and hell, even some of the mechanics were super serious. I swear, I remember playing. Maybe it's just my memory of it being completely wrong. Some of the bad guys were kind of wacky. I swear they had some of the little bit of animation that was a bit weird. And they had bullets that shoot through walls. That was such a pain in the ass. Sorry, just another thing about Resistance. Sorry, go on.
No, I just think that games coming out at this time, the early HD era, I don't think they've figured out how to look good. And
agreed.
Well.
Yes,
that was doing both of those things at the same time, looking good and playing well.
Agreed, especially as this was like the beginning of the PlayStation 3 era as well. Resistance was one of the first games. Like, it came out with Heavenly Sword, it was Resistance, Heavenly Sword, Ratchet and Clank. I can't remember the other first ones that came out. So this was like you said, this was like the beginning dev floor with the new kit for the PlayStation 3. Yes. So it wasn't clean or smooth.
No, one of the most notoriously bad dev kits.
Yes, very true. Yes, very true. It was a massive pain in the ass for a lot of the developers. That's very true. But yeah, I get what you mean. It's not super clean, especially later on because we had the God of War games and stuff like that, which cleaned up so well on the PlayStation 3. That released on PlayStation 3, right? I'm not going mad. I always forget. I just play the games. I forget which consoles I play them on. That came out on
which
3.
game?
God of War.
Yes, God of War 1 and 2 was PS2, but God of War 3...
Yeah, right? That's the one you like
PS3.
as well, right? Yeah, that's the one you...
A lot of people say God of War 3 with... What's it? The Last of Us would be the PS3 swan song.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. As a genre of gaming and what they actually did for it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, so graphically, again, it just reminds me so much of old school cartoons, which I kind of fall in love with in regards to the nostalgia goggles and aspects of it. And to be honest with you, the worst one, I know this is gonna be a bit of a hot topic. I don't like Clank much.
You don't like?
I don't like Clank. I don't like the little
posh
robot. I don't know why. I don't know why. I didn't like in Jak and Dexter. I didn't like Dexter either. I don't know why. I've got somewhat.
Well, okay, Dexter sucks, but
Clank's alright. Clank's.
I
know it all. I don't know. Maybe
He's a bit of a know-it-all. He is a bit bland.
Yeah, I could not have been less interested in his side games. Clank, Secret Agent or something. I can't remember what it was called.
Oh yeah, Secret Agent Clank.
Yeah,
they had to do the sidekick spin-off game because they also had Dexter.
They did. Yeah, that's right. They gotta try and make their money out of these IPs somehow. But anyway, I get what you mean. Anything else visually you want to talk about?
No, but something completely
Go on.
different that doesn't fit in these sections. I absolutely need to know which out of the big 3 PS2 platformers, which one was your favorite?
The Ratchet PS2 platformers, yeah, go on.
Yes, Ratchet and Clank, Jak and Daxter, or Sly Raccoon.
Oh, that's so hard because
I know.
I'm gonna have to go with Sly.
Yes,
because it's a better game and it was cooler.
It's the better, exactly right. I'm siding with Sly as well. I've got no idea why. Who was it? Sucker Punch?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think.
Why they're not doing any more Sly things? Come
They
on.
remade it, didn't they? They made it. They HD'd it for the PlayStation 4. But
Did
you're right,
they?
that isn't. Yeah, there's a trilogy. I can picture the box art. They redid the trilogy for the PlayStation 4, I believe. No,
Okay.
those games were cool. They were like
New games, I mean.
yes, it's like was it Good and Evil or whatever that game's called?
Beyond Good and Evil.
Beyond Good and Evil. That was also a great game, but there's something just classy about those games. The Sly had that devilish charm, the hero ruffian thief thing.
Yes, the Robin Hood.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That he's in the shadows, and as someone playing a game, when the NPCs think they've got control of the situation, when actually you're Sly Raccoon in the shadows, you control what's going on.
Yeah, it was all part of your plan. It was like
thank you. I'm falling over my words.
Yeah,
here.
it was like every time when you watch those movies and then like the Ocean's 11 where they play back everything that actually happened in the background you didn't see.
That's Sly Raccoon.
Yeah, that had that
Sly
edge to it.
Raccoon,
It was
the
good.
platformer heist game. It's great.
Yes, exactly. Well, granted, that was nothing to do with visuals, but it was still
or audio.
That's true. Okay, that segue to audio, Mr. Audio Man. What did you think of the music?
I think it just feels generic.
Yeah, it is one of those things.
Right? When you're fighting, traveling, or exploring, whatever, it's just generic orchestral track.
Yeah. Again, it's hard to compare it because, like you said, what was it? Last of Us had a great musical score, so it is doable on the PlayStation 3 to make. Because sometimes you wonder if it's the hardware requirements. Is it hard to make good music on the consoles that they get given? And there are too many examples where it really isn't that difficult. Be it the Batman games.
The Batman games are good. I would think
Right,
my favorite example of good music on the PS3 would be Final Fantasy 13.
Wow, you like that music in the PlayStation 3.
Yes, Final Fantasy 13 with lightning.
Was that on the PlayStation 3?
Yes,
with
it was.
Lightning
Sorry. And
it was the
snow.
first time. Yeah, that's right. I was originally an Xbox boy back in the day, so I had that all on Xbox because that was the first time they actually went to Xbox as well as PlayStation. But yes, correct. I'm amazed that that's the one that the good music. Don't get me wrong. Final Fantasy games have great music.
Yep.
Did you play those games on the PlayStation 3?
Yes, I did.
Oh wow!
Are you surprised?
I am. That's kind of like. What apart from lightning being kind of hot, what drew you to a Final Fantasy 13 of all games?
Lightning being hot.
Yeah, lightning is hot. There's no doubt. Like she's kind of fair enough. That's all. That's a good enough reason to play
this game. I saw this game when it came out when I was studying music at university.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, and I saw gameplay of this game somewhere on YouTube.
Yeah, of course.
With hosts, planets playing in the background. Jupiter, more specifically. The bringer of joy.
Yeah.
It's such an excellent, excellent fit that I would, in the middle of class on my computer, just put on my headphones and watch and listen to that.
Oh, really? So you didn't study or learn? you were just listening to Lightning and Final Fantasy's back soundtrack.
100%.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. Yeah, like I said, you should have probably been listening to class, but no, you're right. Look, granted, you're never going to see me complain about a soundtrack of a Final Fantasy game. They're fucking.
It's good. It's good. A close second would be L.A. Noire.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Come on.
The atmosphere in that game, is
right?
just so great,
Those muted trumpets.
Yeah,
in the back alleyway of the city of angels.
I still got to complete that game. I've gotten far in it, but I never completed it.
Come on!
Which is upsetting. No, it upsets me saying it. I'm not gonna lie, it upsets me.
The game does peak in the middle though, when you're doing homicide.
Yes, when you go up to homicide, that is the best bit because before
that is by far the best chapter in the game.
No,
it's so good, but you should finish it.
Yeah,
Arson is also quite good.
Yeah, it's on my list of everyone. Everyone's got one. The backlist of games they got it as complete one day.
We've all got a backlog. We need to talk about Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, audio-wise, I looked up the voice actors. Ratchet is played by a gentleman called James Arnold Taylor. He was Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Clone Wars cartoon animated series, and Leonardo in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, one of those series, because there's like 400 of them now. Yep. Clank was David Kay, who played Cringer in He-Man, the Netflix version. Do you know who Cringer is? just to test your retro cartoons. Who's Cringer?
Cringer is the cartoon character voiced by the same person who voiced Clank.
Nice. That's a genius way of dodging that question. He's Battle Cat. Do you know He-Man? Tell me you know He-Man.
Come on, no, I don't.
What? You don't know Adam, Prince Adam, He-Man?
No, I don't. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, so calm down. The only bit of He-Man that I know of is the classic YouTube video. Hey yeah.
It's so wrong that you just finished that sentence. Just that's the bit of He-Man you know. You don't even know I have the power.
Okay, I've heard that sound bit.
Oh, thank God.
It's a bit. I've heard that sound bite, yes, and then there's thunder in the background, and he raises his sword.
Epic moment, yeah, of gaming history. But I get you. I'm older than you. I obviously have more taste and class and refinement in my cartoons. Well, granted, he also did Transformers Beast Wars. He played Megatron, which I don't think I ever watched that.
No, but we all know who Megatron is.
Exactly. At least that's
Megatron.
Something. Tachyon was played by Andy Morris, who played Cicero from Skyrim, or Cicero. I don't know how you say his name.
Cicero. No way, Cicero.
Right? Finally, exactly. He was the mad person.
Yes, right? he was the mad lad, that absolute crazy bugger.
That's right. He also played
burnt.
I remember there was a long story mission as well.
Jeez, that's the Dark Brotherhood.
Right? Yes.
Oh man, when you're in the coffin of Mother Night and you overhear Cicero, that's.
I think play the Skyrim.
What?
I thought you didn't play Skyrim.
I didn't finish Skyrim.
Oh, so you did with some hours in, because I'm like,
yes, I got about 80, 90 hours, and then my save got overwritten by my sister's. Anyway,
everybody can feel that pain. Yeah, no doubt. He also played Clem in Psychonauts. You know, the main character, little Clem. Do you know Psychonauts? Classic game.
I've not played Psychonauts.
It is kind of old, granted. Now you're probably quite young.
I'd like to.
Zani was played by Richard Stephen Harritz, who actually plays Billy from the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. Can you remember that cartoon?
Of course.
Right? I was shot by Billy, and he also plays Zim in Invader Zim, the little alien fella. Right? Is it Zim?
It is. Wait, Zim and Billy from Billy and Mandy is the same voice actor?
Same voice actor, yeah.
Jeez,
crazy,
that's
right?
some range.
And then,
who's the last one, yeah?
No, I just realised I scratched this out, so that, no, it doesn't. Continue. So yeah, Zim and Billy are the same voice actor.
No surprise that the standout element of audio in this game is the voice acting.
Yes, exactly.
I think this Ratchet's voice actor, who'd you say he was?
Ratchet was James Arnold Taylor.
Hasn't he been voicing Ratchet since the very, very start?
Yes, I think they have, yes. I didn't add that in, but yes, I believe
that's some English dub Goku levels of commitment.
Yeah, no doubt. That's longevity. It's got to be hard to do. I remember in an interview with the Dragon Ball Z people, they because they have to shout so much, it's literally destroyed their throats.
Yes, and they lube up their throats.
They have to. Yeah, they really have to, because it's so much like that. They hate those scenes because Goku growls and shouts for a minute straight.
Of course.
It's weird problems. It's weird problems they have. Yeah, exactly.
Just hours and hours of that.
Do you know that in Japan, I think it's Japan or Korea, I can't remember, there's actually in the airport, there's a little pod you can go in to check to see if you can go Super Saiyan. And it's just this clear soundproof pod where you just go inside and go,
what?
Yeah, I kid you not. I kid you not.
No.
Where and there's a little gauge next to you to see what your power level would be. I think it's something to do with how much pressure you can put on the ground and next to you, and how loud you can go. And it slowly builds up, and then it tells you if you could go Super Saiyan or not.
Yeah, because...
Which is just so...
Wow, of course this is in Japan, and that gauge probably doesn't go over 9,000.
Yeah, of course not. Why would it? That would be too shocking. I love that exists. Entirely pointless. But I do love that you could say, you know what? No, if I was a Saiyan, I know I could make Super Saiyan because I've got this little printout or this video of me doing it. So weird segue, but I just love that exists in the world. It's so bizarre. Gameplay then. What did you think of the gameplay?
Come again, this is this is the classic Ratchet and Clank gameplay that most people know. You're not going to play this and go, oh wow, oh cool, this is new. I've never played this.
That's so mean because
I know, but it's true though. Tell me it's not true.
I had one moment in playing this game where I thought, oh wow, because I forgot this was a function of the controller I had.
I know what you're gonna say.
What is it?
It's when Ratchet's falling.
Yes. I completely forgot that was even a thing when I dusted off my old PlayStation
with the
controller.
broken 6-axis controls.
Yeah, that was great. It was silly. Did you ever play Heavenly Blade? Because that had the same thing in it, and it was amazing.
I didn't. No, I got my PS3 in 2011 when better games have been released.
That had that thing where you could throw swords and arrows and control it with your 6-axis controller, so you could make it go and go behind people and flick. It was so dumb but amazing at the same time.
That does sound cool. Shit.
The falling down aspect and some of the weapons use the 6-axis thing. I forgot that was a thing, and it was quite fun to rediscover it again. They're very short segments, which is kind of a shame. Yeah. But I did kind of like it. I was like, it's more than likely the nostalgia of discovering that and having to play with that years ago when that was the big thing about controls. It wasn't touchscreens and adaptive triggers. It was that you could move the controller and it would move your player.
Whoa. Right? And then some games released using only those controls.
Yes.
There was a type of dragon fighting game.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Where you could only control your dragon,
and it was
with the 6-axis. Yes, right? That's what I heard.
It was horrible. Yeah, I can't remember what it is, but I do kind of have a recollection that it was a horrible experience of a game. But the gameplay.
Why were those years so obsessed with motion controls? With the Wii.
Well, it was the first step into what people perceived as VR, wasn't it? If we can get motion control down, we can get full immersion. It was immersion. I could swing my sword. I could catch my baseball and stuff like that. Granted, we haven't really succeeded in doing it properly yet because the Xbox One was useless. The Wii was fun, but also kind of useless in its regards to everybody could play tennis on the sofa just by flicking their wrist thing.
Yes.
The big thing was kind of movement in gaming in that era. Somehow moving things to amplify gameplay. Which is dead now, really, if you think about it. When was the last time you had to play a game where you had to, like, get up out your chair, for lack of a better term? Granted, VR games are getting better. Yesterday?
Yes, I'm on the Switch with my oldest. He loves playing Mario and Mario Kart and Mario Party, and some of those activities require.
Oh, it's true. That is true.
A lot of motion.
Games, the Mario games, I'll give them credit. They have kept going with the concept.
And they've kind of figured it out.
Oh no, they're very clever. Some of the puzzles and the things you got to do with the controller are actually genius level of IQ.
It's good.
Yeah, no. But anyway, this game's also got like another classic aspect of gameplay from the Ratchet and Clank. So just the fun little weapons, the gadgets. You've got to just mention the Groovatron, which again is very Saturday morning cartoons where you're fighting for your life, and then all of a sudden you just throw out a disco ball and everybody's just night fevering the night away.
Yes, you're right. That's cool. That's funny. It
is. That's very
perfectly
silly.
Ratchet and Clank.
Yes,
that's great.
Which we don't get much anymore. Now, granted, nostalgia's coming on. Those things. And just the names, like the Rhino 5 being the BFG. You got the Combuster, the Negotiator, the Magnet, which is genius. The Pyro Blaster, the Gravity Boots, the Gelatinator, or I think that's how you say it. The Cryptor, the Hydro Pack, the Slingshot. The names are just fun and silly. And they're all, as guns go, they're always fun and unique and different, and each game kind of makes them different. And I also like that your weapons, the more you use them, they kind of upgrade themselves. Like the more use you have with one, the more powerful it
I liked that aspect of Ratchet and Clank across the series as well. I think as the series went on, the guns only got better. In Rift Apart, I think the guns and tools are incredible. Yes, I like the fact that if you stick with one max leveled gun through the entire game, you're going to get steamrolled by the final boss.
Yes, no doubt. Yeah, that's just it's too simple.
If you don't have at least half of your arsenal max level,
yes,
you're not gonna make it.
Which has kind of got like a grindy fashion to it, because you got to collect all those raritaniums and golden screws and stuff like that, right? Which is an addition to the platforming that adds the kind of like a Mario 64 aspect, where you have to go back to a level and try and find which gadget can help you get to that screw or that raritanium. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's just like, again, it is the genre of game back in that 2007 with the PlayStation 3. It's got nostalgia for me. I can understand a lot of people with games now compared to games then that this is maybe a bit boring. Did you find it boring?
A tad.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Again, it's one of those things where we're kind of spoiled again. Like I said, if you ever played the re-release of Crash Bandicoot, it's hard as nails.
It's so hard. I went to a friend's house.
Yeah.
And they said, "Oh, they got to level 3, but they're stuck." And I thought, "What?
What, level 3?
You're
exactly.
Stuck?
Yeah. That's only the natural thing to think.
Give me the controller before you hurt yourself."
Yeah, exactly.
And I couldn't make it past level 3.
Yeah, exactly. Old games, they were either
stunned.
super hard. Yeah. And that's PlayStation 2 right? Wasn't that the PlayStation 2 version?
Well, okay, was it? Was Ratchet? Was Crash the first Crash Bandicoot plays? No, that was PlayStation
1, potentially. Was it? Yeah.
Games were hard.
No, games was like, everybody applauds Dark Souls and Elden Ring and stuff for their difficulty. Please, they got nothing
games,
on the original era games.
That's what games were.
This game's also got some fun, like a Starship rail shooter bit when you're traveling planets. That was a nice little break, I suppose.
Yeah, much like Star Fox.
Yes, it's true. It reminded me of Star Fox too. Are you going to slag on Star Fox now?
I'm not going to slag on Star Fox. I just think they did it first.
That's very true. Okay, yeah, you've got to be right. And of course, just like one thing that I love about... I'm a sucker for arena parts of games. Yeah. I don't know if you are. Like, I love those the grindy big boss fights in arenas. And of course, this one has one in it, which is always a plus for me. It's never... it's weird to take into account that I don't play Dark Souls games and stuff like that, in regards to that's kind of a arena-esque. It's all bad guys you got to try and take down. But arena games and these types of things, I always think, oh, a blast. I have a lot of fun. It
is fun, but I think don't all Ratchet and Clank games have arena
Yes,
modes?
I think so. One of them I know has a racing mode, but I can't remember which one's that. There's like a little pod racing game in it.
I know.
I've played it. I know. I've got a memory of it, but I cannot remember which one it is.
Remake from 2016? I think you've got these rocket boots. No, that was Rift Apart. Rift Apart, really? The newest one, has this kind of racing. You've got these rocket boots that you could just zip around the levels with. And
that sounds right. That sounds like an experience I've got
no idea. It's one of the two. But
anyway,
yes, that was kind of fun.
Good little side things, like the gameplay has aged, I suppose, now. Like I can't really instantly compare it to a game that's come out recently.
Evolved, rather.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like the game you like. Astro Boy's kind of Ratchet and Clank-esque in gameplay. No?
Yeah.
Right?
It's a lot of platforming. It's a lot of platforming.
And
all
discovery,
these platformer games.
Yeah.
Yes, they're all very, very fun.
Yes,
but can get generic.
Yeah, that's the problem. And I wouldn't say this is the longest game either, so that's a plus, because if you're doing it for too long, it does get a little
if you
boring.
Can just get it over with.
I know, this is going to be also a hot take. It's one of the things I had problems with the old Zelda games.
Yeah.
Because they would get long-winded and, again, increasingly difficult sometimes.
You're right.
A lot of
people aren't going to agree with that.
No, I know. I played that, I don't know, Link to the Past, which is a great play on words, by the way. I think, is that what it's called? The one on the Game Boy
where Link to the Past. That's the second.
You went to the future.
That's the third Zelda game made.
I remember getting very confused by that. Granted, I was younger then, so I'd hope I wouldn't now. But I remember that game I played halfway through, and I was just like, I have no idea what's going on. So I stopped it.
Nice.
And then I lost it, which is the worst, because those games are like super rare now and collectible, and it makes me very sad.
Wait, so you played A Link to the Past on the SNES?
No, I played it on the Game Boy.
Game Boy?
The Game Boy. The Game Boy Advanced, I think.
Oh, okay. I was just about to say that.
It was a blue or red box. I can't entirely remember, but I can picture having it, and it's maybe very sad not having it anymore. Anything else?
Are long. No.
Anything
I've
else?
got nothing
gameplay
else for
wise?
gameplay.
Okay, performance, because you always have a bigger problems with performance than I do, and it looks like this is the case again today. What happened performance-wise for you?
Okay, so the one bit isn't the game's fault.
Okay, fair enough.
The only way I was able to play this was with PS3 emulator.
Whoa! Wow. No one's ever done that before. Nobody knows what you're talking about. This is
yes.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Neither do I.
Yeah,
but whatever it was that I don't know what I'm talking about, it did not work well.
Okay, that might not be the game's fault. I'll give you that one's potentially me.
I'm gonna admit that as well. That was not the game's fault. Although there were some instances where it was the game's fault, like rogue plasma bullets bugged out in the ground.
Oh, like they got stuck there, like they didn't move.
Yes, I would be shooting and my bullet would just be stuck mid-shot in the ground.
That's kind of a classic of the era, to be honest with you. I can picture loads of games like that.
It is. That early HD era was so buggy.
It really was. They
didn't figure things out yet.
But again, there's strangely enough, there's a comforting nostalgia to just hearing that and go, oh yeah. Bullets just messing around.
Simpler times.
Right.
They didn't know what they were doing either.
Yeah, shooting past a box and your bullets just get stuck in that invisible space that's there.
Yes.
For some reason. There's something nostalgic about that, which is funny because it's broken.
Yes.
It's entirely broken, but it's
invisible
just
geometry, 100%.
Oh, great. Just randomly clipping through something. Good times. Just like all of a sudden I'm in a wall, of course.
Yes, I am in a wall.
Maybe I am a wall. Yeah, it was just a deep look into society today. No, granted, yeah, I can see that happening. I can't remember. I know that some screws, or whatever you call it, the parts, they burst into the air, and then they burst somewhere out of reach.
Yes, of course, they'd fall off of a platform, never to be...
and you're like, God damn it. I needed those. But again, that's not really... It's frustrating more than it was breaking, but sometimes I did get annoyed at that part. So, was that it? Just a buggy...
I just think this game didn't perform... There were small bugs, just loads of small bugs, nothing huge.
Yeah. No,
right? Like what happened with Zenless Zone Zero. Nothing major, just a lot of small things that made me think... Yeah, maybe... It
just added up, right?
Exactly. Maybe this wasn't made the best. Or maybe the PS3 isn't the best place to make something on.
Got you. Again, I must say, I actually went of the battle. The Xbox 360 won that battle for me of the console war, so to speak.
They did.
I have tons more Xbox 360 games than I do PlayStation 3.
They did. 360
was great.
One of the PS3, but then... immediately the generation after, PS4 trounced.
Really did.
Over the Xbox.
It's kind of just super interesting, and it's a long discussion some other time. But it's amazing what a comeback PlayStation did, to be honest with you. Because the Xbox 360 kicked its ass. Yes. Microsoft made a ton and was kind of lauded as the next big thing. And then, of course, they did that weird Xbox One or Bone or what the hell the new... No one knows what the new Xbox are called. No, they just confused everything.
Yes,
it's remarkable how PlayStation won the war by just calling it 4 or 5. That's literally
we know what the next 5 PlayStations are going to be called.
We do, and that's not a problem.
It's a big relief.
Yes, when you're in your 30, it is a relief. I get to know that that's 6, and there will be a 6 on the loading screen somewhere, and then I get reassured that yes, I'm playing the 6. That's granted. I swear to you, it's good. It's good when you get older. Okay, value for money. What did you think?
I don't think it's. Damn it! No! Why do you make me say this?
Yeah, it's your punishment.
I think that you can get this type of experience a dime a dozen.
Now, yes, I agree. Yes. Now you very much can, yes. Then, not so much.
Maybe even then, not as much as now, but then, even then, there were 5 Ratchet. This was the 5th or 4th Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, they were
all
good
the
few
same.
Well, yeah, that's true. Jumping around, platforming, killing fish and robots and skeletons and stuff like that. But you say that like FIFA and PES didn't exist, or Pro Evolution Soccer, and Gran Turismo and Forza and I don't know, other racing games. I don't do racing games. There were lots of games that were all the same, but still somewhat
they were
better
all the
than
same,
others.
and people kept eating it up.
They did. there's no doubt.
They don't get a pass. Madden, they don't get a pass.
True, I agreed. I actually
None
do
of
agree
these
entirely
sports
now.
games get a pass.
I agreed. I'm so happy FIFA's kind of gone. The FIFA side of football games is gone because I felt like they were some of the biggest reasons the games were just copy and pasted bullshit. That said, the new one is supposed to be very good.
FC.
Is that what it's called? Yeah.
It's called FC. It's short for Football Club.
Yeah. Again, I don't know what you're supposed to call a football game. I just thought FC was a bit boring, but that's just me. I used to play football games.
It's very smart. It's very smart. Calling your game just 2 syllables, it's incredible.
Name another.
Instead, 2 syllables.
Yeah, go on. Sorry, just a challenge for you.
Madden.
Oh, 2 syllables. Sorry, I thought you said 2 letters. Okay, 2 syllables is super easy. Sorry, that wasn't as much as a challenge as I thought it was going to be. Yeah, true, Madden, very true. And a million other games.
Yes.
Yeah, granted, football games, agreed, had that horrible history of just being copy and paste nonsense.
Yeah.
And but anyway, this game, again, value for money wise, I get that you think there's too many clones of it, and especially now, you're absolutely right, there's a billion clones of this type of gameplay. Granted, it got printed to like in the millions, so you can find a copy. Of course it did. You can find a copy of this everywhere. Of course it did.
This is Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, it's like $8, like secondhand. I'm pretty sure you can probably find it on the PlayStation. Oh, can you? Can you find this on the PlayStation Network? Was this released on the
PS Plus?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I have the game, so I played the original.
I also have the game.
That's right. You played my version of the game.
Oh yes,
that's right.
Yes.
I lent it to you, so everything's covered now.
I don't think this is on PS Plus catalog because this is a PS3 game, and the catalog only has, I think, PS4 games?
Yeah, that can't be right. It depends on which subscription you've got, right? Because
right. So PS Deluxe.
Yeah, it has PlayStation 2 games and stuff on it.
Really? Would PS Deluxe have?
I know. For now, but a bit of a flex, I have Deluxe. I don't have it for long. But yeah, they got Pod Racer and stuff on it, and Time Splitters and stuff like that, which I don't think ever made it to PlayStation 3 or 4. So yes, it depends on which subscription, but I still don't think Ratchet and Clank, this game, was on there. I would have more than likely looked for that first, because setting up the PlayStation 3 again and getting it all plugged in and taking everything off was a pain in the ass.
Ugh, tell me about
So yeah, I would have I know, right? I can only imagine how hard it was for you to get it all plugged in and stuff your side. But it is what it is. Like I said, I get what you're saying. My nostalgia just comes in a bit too hard because this game is fun, and it's an era again that I think a lot of us kind of hold dear, and it's hard to criticize something like that.
No, but you're right. It's not fun.
No, it's true.
It is still a tad fun. It's just also generic.
Yeah, it's not like it's everybody's golf, which is just not fun.
No.
I guess if you're into golf, I guess it slightly scratches an itch.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, like I said, if you listen to the last episode, I don't entirely know if this is just because Nick has become grumpier and his time has become more scarce and he hasn't got time for games that don't wow him anymore.
Maybe, that could be it.
Yeah, I swear. Granted, you're turning 30, you've got tons of kids, you basically got a football team of kids there, and you're just like, no, this isn't doing it. My time is too precious to continue this.
This ain't it, Chief.
Yeah. So yeah, you've become like the most hardcore reviewer on the internet now.
Could be.
You don't amuse me anymore, game.
And this past week, I just beat Sekiro, and I thought, that's a good game right there.
That's more like it. The Lombaxes and the Cragmites, or whatever the hell they're called. Please, that's not.
Yeah.
That's saving the galaxy is not important. I need to take down a Asian man?
Ashina, the Sword Saint.
Is he, granted, never played the games, is he like omnipotent or anything? Or is he just an Asian guy that's good with a sword, the bad guy? Is he immortal or anything like?
So here's the thing, they're both all Asian guys good with swords are omnipotent.
That's just in gameplay, in games.
In games, yes. So Ishin Ashina is an Asian guy good with a sword and also omnipotent.
Okay. So there is some like grandeur to actually taking him on.
It's very anime.
Okay,
it's
cool.
Cool as hell.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. But you don't play a teenage girl, which is, that's upsetting. It
is upsetting. You're neither a teenage girl or 10 years old, so...
What? How are you supposed to,
I know.
blend in? How are you supposed to be immersed if you're not
I could not relate.
No, except
I was
one
unable
problem.
to.
Sekiro, Elden Ring. Where's my teenage girl saving the world? We need those. Anyway,
where's my animal adjacent companion?
Of course, cute little thing that can cook or get the attention. Yeah, we all need it. So I can buy plushies and cups and posters and stuff like that.
Yes, and have an entire trading card game made of exactly this.
Yes, exactly. It was spending fortunes on just getting a shiny piece compared to.
You were just this shinobi in this very, very immersive and entrancing world fighting omnipotent Asian swordmen.
That's boring. What's that? That's generic. That's basically, that's
yes.
Omni. What was that game called? I've lost it.
What?
There was an old.
Omni what?
There was an old game where you just played an Asian man with a sword. It's ages old now. I want to say Omni. Oh no, I've lost it.
Is it? Are you thinking of what's that? Onimusha.
Yes, that one. It's like a PlayStation 2 game, right? And I remember it was on the Game Boy Advance. That was basically just Elden Ring. Oh no, sorry, Sekiro, right? Just long time ago. Sorry, I'm being very generic. I'm just glad I could remember an old game and with your help the name of it. So I'm
nice.
What did we score this game then?
Yes, let's move on to the score for this game. So everyone, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but so we took our scores for this game, scattered them across the galaxy to have this dumb Lombax. No, he's not dumb. To have this cute Lombax and his robot friend, gather them up. And all sell back to the robot man to be able to afford the Rhino 5, or as I'd like to call it, the letter score rating of C.
Which is, again, like I said, we seem to be getting a lot of C games. All hail the list.
C and B, all hail the list.
The list is trying to give us some good ones for now, or okay ones for now. It is what it is. It is an old school game. A lot of people are going to a difficulty just picking that up because of how old school it. God, I'm hating myself. I'm calling this old school. I'm basically admitting this is a retro game, which is just
don't do that. Don't.
Just ruining my brain. It's like a paradox. Like I can't call it an old school game, but it's not retro. What am I doing? This is a great brand new game from the PlayStation 3 era.
PlayStation 3 now in stores, $4.99.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you get them worldwide, just released. So yeah, I get that it is hard to play for, especially for the younger generation. My nostalgia goggles kicked in, giving it a bit, possibly a higher score than it deserves. It could be more of a D-esque game, I suppose, but no, I'm not going to admit that. I like Lombaxes. I like Ratchet too much.
Lombaxes are cool.
They are cool, not sly cool. But
no, definitely not Sly cool. Sly Raccoon is... that's cool.
He's cooler than Jack.
Yes.
He's well cooler than Jack. Jack just did nothing for me. Lombaxes...
Jack is a work friend.
Yes.
Ratchet is the one that you get drinks after work. Sly comes around every other weekend or so, and then you just get shit-faced.
Wow, that's one hell of a description for Sly. But yeah, right. Yeah, he's definitely the guy you want to hang out at the party. He's the one you hover around.
He knows what's up.
Because things are going to go down around Sly. This party's just going to go to another level. But yeah, true. Anyway, our love for Sly, it seems to be quite apparent.
Please list.
Yes.
Please listen to us. Please give us Sly Raccoon. All hail the list.
All hail the list. A C is a decent rating. I think, again, reviews are subjective. Some people said it's the best game of the PlayStation 3 era.
Yeah.
Some of us
the only reason we have reviews
Exactly.
Or so that we can call these reviews so that companies can give us games.
Yes, that's it. They're just paying us a fortune to give them a C right now, by the way.
Yes.
Insomniac was like, yeah, here, do the review of our game that's super old.
It's funny because we've actually gotten a game from Insomniac.
That's true. That's true.
Free
See?
of charge.
I'm not entirely lying.
No.
Like I say, we get games from Insomniac all the time. Like
we love you, Insomniac.
Yeah, we do, actually. Kind of. The Spider-Man games were a jam.
So thank you for listening. Thank you, Insomniac, for listening to this week's episode.
Undoubtedly listening, yeah.
And it'd be kind if you could leave us a review. I forgot my entire spiel. You can follow us on social media channels, YouTube, Instagram. You can send me an email. I'm nick@criticalarcade.com.
And I'm Dave at criticalarcade.com.
Besides, for our very cool and original emails, where else can people follow you, Dave?
Well, you can't find me out and about, but unfortunately on my travels, Clank seems to have latched on to where I go, and he's already starting to get on my nerves. So I will have Clank available, but I will strap him to your back so that he can't get away from him. And he will criticize and inform you, and I don't know why, Clank just annoyed me, and so I'm going to make him annoy you. Now, granted, in theory...
That sounds nice.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. What are you talking about? I can have Clank with me all the time.
He weighs like 40 kilos. They never show that in the game. He actually is a heavy boy. Like, he weighs a ton.
That's different.
And you got to charge him up. Your electricity bill's going to spike. And this is South Africa, so Eskom's going to close down. You know, you're not thinking about the real repercussions.
I
You'll
guess
have a companion.
I'm thinking in cartoon land.
Yeah, exactly. You're not living in the... They don't show you the behind the scenes in Cartoon Network. It's brutal out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, granted, I'm a bit scared because Nick seems to suggest that this is something people will want to follow me for.
Of course.
But no, Clank for me, he's too annoying, and I'll switch him on to extra annoying and aggressive mode if you can hear me.
Everyone, after you've gotten your Clank,
there's more than one. I just have like loads of them.
Support us on Patreon for exclusive content like our post show and Critical Cinema.
Yeah, good idea.
Very good. Dave, I'm so excited for this.
This is so insane. Yeah, I agreed.
What have we got lined up for next week?
Well, the list, in all its grandeur and knowledge, decided to give us a game from 1995. Now, that's, like 30? Is that no, is that more than 30 years old? How old is that now?
That is 29 years
29 years ago, when I was young. A PC game which is a classic if you're old enough to remember it. It's a game called I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, which doesn't do it a great favor on what type of game it is.
No.
But I know it is almost kind of like a niche classic because it's a very niche gameplay and concept
Very niche,
idea.
very cult classic. This used to be a short story originally.
Yes, and it's dark and adult kinda, especially for 1995. This was like extreme stuff, and we get to play that and review it next week, which is gonna be just bizarre. It's gonna be a hard one.
How are we going from Ratchet and Clank to
I know. I don't even know how you're gonna do things like gameplay because it's point and click. I last time I played, I have played a little bit of this game years and years ago.
I've seen screenshots.
It's gonna be a great episode because I know this game is just mental.
It is. Check in next week to listen us somehow talk about I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. I guess we'll see you then. Cheers.